Thank you. It's great to be with you this afternoon. Today, we begin a conversation about how to make Americans safe again. In the 20th century, the United States defeats fascism, Nazism, communism. Now, a different threat challenges our world radical Islamic terrorists. This summer, there has been an ISIS attack launched outside the war zone of the Middle East every 84 hours. Here in America, we have seen one brutal attack after another. 13 were murdered and the 38 wounded in the assault on Feldhout. The Boston Marathon bombing wounded a maimed 26 people and then ultimately left 5 deaths, including 2 politics officers. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, 5 unnamed Marines were shot and killed at the military recruiting center. Last December, 14 announced Americans were gunned down at the office party in San Bernardino. Another 22 were injured. In June, 49 Americans were executed at the Plus nightclub in Orlando, and then another 53 were injured. It was the worst mass shooting in our history. And then the worst attack on the LGBTQ community in our history. In Europe, we have seen the same carnage and the blood inflicted upon our closest allies. In January 2015, a French satirical newspaper, Charlie Hebdo, was attacked from the publishing cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad. 12 were killed, including 2 politics officers, and then 11 were wounded 2 days later. 4 were murdered in a Jewish deli. In November of 2015, terrorists went on a shooting rampage in Paris that slaughtered 130 people and wounded another 368. France is suffering gravely, and the tourism industry is being massively affected in a most negative way. In March of this year, terrorists detonated a bomb in the Brussels airport, killing 32 and then injured 30,040. This year, in the south of France, an Islamic terrorism turned his truck into an instrument of mass murder, pulling down and killing 85 men, women, and children, and wounding another 300 each. Among the dead were 2 Americans, a Texas father and his 11 years old son. A few weeks ago, in Germany, a recruit armed with an axe wounded 5 people in gruesome train attack. Only days ago, an ISIS killer infiltrated a Christian church in Normandy, France, forced an 85-year-old priest to his knees and sealed his throat before his congregation. Overseas, ISIS has carried out one unthinkable atrocity after another. Children slaughtered, girls sold into slavery, men and women burned alive, crucifixions, beheadings, and drowning. Ethnic minority target from mass execution. Holy seat decreased. Christians drive from their home and then haunted from the examination. ISIS rounding up what it called the nation of the cross. In and the campaigns of genocide. We cannot let this evil continue. No, nor can we let the harmful ideology of radical Islam, its oppression of women, gay, children, and the not-believers be allowed to reside or spread within our own countries. We will defeat radical Islamic terrorism, just as we have defeated every there we have faced in every age before. But we will not defeat it with closed eyes or silent voice. Anyone who cannot name our enemy is not fit to lead this country. Anyone who cannot condemn this hatred, oppression, and the violence of radical Islamic lack the moral clarity to serve as our presidents. There is of ISIS in the direct result of the policy decision made by President Obama and the Secretary Clinton. Let's look back at the Middle East at the every beginning of 2009 before the Obama-Clinton administration took over. Libya was stable, Syria was under control, Egypt was ruled by a secular president and an ally of the United States. Iraq was expressing a reduction in violence. The group that will become what we now call ISIS was close to being extinguishing. Iran was being cooked of the economic sanction. Fast forward today, what have the decision of Obama-Clinton produced? Libya is ruined. Our ambassador and there are brave America are dead. And then ISIS has granted a new base of operations. Syria is the midst of the desperate civil war. ISIS cornered the large potential of territory. A refugee crisis now threatens Europe and the United States. In Egypt, terrorists have gained a foothold in the Sinai Desert near the Suez Canal, one of the most essential waterways in the world. Iraq is a chaos, and then ISIS in won the lose. ISIS has spread across the Middle East, and in the war in 2040, ISIS was operating in some 7 nations. Today, they are fully operational in 18 countries with aspiring branches in 6 more for a total of 24, and many believe it's ever more than then. The situation is likely worse than the public knows. A news cross-regulation report reveals and the administration has downplayed and the crown of the ISIS, with 40% of analysts saying they had experienced effort to manipulate their feelings. At the same time, ISIS is trying to infiltrate refugees flow into Europe and United States. Iraq, the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism, is now flush with $115 billion in cash released by the United States, plus another 100 millions in ransom. Worst of the year, the nuclear deal puts Iran the number of state sponsors of radical Islamic terrorists. On a path of nuclear weapons, in short, the Obama-Clinton foreign policy has unleashed ISIS, destabilized the Middle East, and put the nation of Iran, which can dictate to America, in dominant position of regional power and in effect aspiring to be domination world power. It all began in 2009 with what has become known as President Obama Global Apology Tour. In series of speech, President Obama described America as arrogant, dismissive, derisive, and a colonial power. He informed another country that he will be speaking about Americans' past errors. He pledged that we will no longer be senior patrons that sought to dedicate our terms. He lectured CIA officers of the need to acknowledge their mistake and described Guantanamo Bay as rallying cry for our enemy. Perhaps no speech was more misquoted than President Obama's speech in the Muslim world delivered in Cairo, Egypt, in 2009. In winning the Cold War, President Ronald Reagan repeatedly taught the superiority of the freedom over communism and called the USSR the evil empires. It's a time for a new approach. Our country's strategy of nation building and the Reagan change in a proven failure. We have created to vacuum and then allow terrorism grow and thrive. I was an opponent of the Iraq War from the beginning. Major difference between me and my opponents. Although I was a private citizen, whose personal opinion on such matter was not so, I nonetheless publicly expressed my private doubts about the invasions. There, 3 months before the invasion, I said in an interview with Neil Cavuto, to whom I offer my best wishes for a speedy recovery, that perhaps we should be doing it yet, and then the economic is much bigger problem. In August of 2004, very early in the conflict, I made the title statement to Esquire magazine. Here is the quote in full. Look at the war in Iraq and the mess we're in. I will never be handled it the way. Does anybody really believe that Iraq is going to be a wonderful democracy where people are going to run down the voting box and can gentle put in their ballot, and the winner is happily going to step up to lead the country? Come on! 2 minutes after we leave, there's going to be a revolution, and then the mean stroke, smartest, most fictitious guy will take over, and then he'll have weapons of mass destruction which Saddam didn't have. Thank you for this today. We will make America is great again and safe again for everyone.